Hi, I'm Heather Telford and I'm quite excited about this card I have to show you today. It's made with a pretty stamp set from Penny Black called Lovely Lilacs. There are 2 stamps in the set, both a similar sort of thing but slightly different sizes and leaning in different directions. The technique is really simple but effective, my favorite kind, and I think the end result is quite lovely. The technique works with 2 colors in the same color family, so in this case the purple color family, and I'm starting with shaded lilac distress ink over the whole stamp, and then a darker purple, the Seedless Preserves distress marker, and I'm just dabbing that a little bit on each flower in that lilac flower head. I'm not being particularly careful about it, I'm just wanting little dabs of that Seedless Distress over the whole stamp. And then I'm doing the stems in peeled paint distress marker and just putting a little bit of green on all those stems, just taking a look at the back of the stamp to make sure I haven't missed anything, and then giving it a couple of spritzes. You can see that I don't spritz up really close because the spritzer was actually off the screen. Just a few spritzes and then stamp, and that's it. You don't go in again, you just leave it like that. And I'm going to make a row of flowers across the whole card, so I'm going to use the other lilac this time so I can have the variety of the 2 stamps and it's leaning in a different direction. Once again, I inked the whole thing with shaded lilac and then dabbed all the little flowers with Seedless Preserves, and then did all my little stem bits in peeled paint. If you're not sure which bit's a stem and which bit's a petal, then just stamp the stamp before you start off in one color on a piece of scratch paper, so you have the image off to the side and you can check which bit's a stem, because sometimes it's hard to tell from the back of the stamp. I'm switching between the 2 flowers just for that variety, and I'm also varying the height for the flowers each time I stamp so that I've got a nice look of the garden, because of course all the flowers don't grow to the same height, and then just doing the same technique each time. You can see this marker has seen better days. That tip is not looking as good as it used to, but I use my markers mainly to ink stamps. I don't do a lot of coloring with my distress markers, so as long as there's ink in it, it's still doing a fine job. Now I'm just showing you this one card in the video today, but I actually made a whole bunch of these with different color combinations, and I'll just put them in the video at the end, some stills of those cards, and so you'll be able to see some other ideas with this stamp and some other color combinations that start with a light color and then move on to a darker color in the same color family. So light pink, dark pink, light blue, dark blue, that sort of thing. And then I decided that that little gap, it was fine without the gap, but I thought just a little bit of lilac peeping up lower would look pretty. And then that also gives me a nice little space for my sentiment. Again, you don't see where I'm holding the spritzer, but it's off camera, and usually I spritz 2 or 3 times. And if there's too much water on it when I stamp, I can just dab it off with a paper towel. So the sentiment is from the set Carefree Wishes, and I took a little time to work out which one. No, not Carefree Wishes, Magical Friendship. Carefree Wishes appears later in the video. So I took a little time to work out which one I wanted, just one that fits in the little space there, and decided on this one about friendship, and well, they're all about friendship because it's called Magical Friendship. Anyway, I decided on this one and switched to VersaFine Clair ink, which does a lovely job on sentiments. Nice and crisp, and nice crisp pigment ink. And then that is my card front. But I decided that I wanted to do my envelope. I'm getting better at remembering to do an envelope at the same time. So same technique, but the envelope isn't made of watercolor paper. so I don't want to add too much water. I do, however, want to add a little bit of water so those little dabs don't look like dabs when I stamp it, because that's what the spritz of water does. It moves the little dabs of ink, the darker seedless preserves, just spreads it into the lighter purple. So that's why you do a little spritz each time. So I still did a spritz and then stamped it, and then I set my envelope aside to dry because, like I said, it's not made from watercolor paper. So here's the finished card with the supplies that I used. I love this technique. I love how effective it looks with very little work. I hope you'll try it. And here are a few other combinations, color combinations, and I've left the supplies. I've put the supplies on the screen, so you can just pause if you want to take note of what those colors are. And all the supplies are on my blog as well, so I hope you'll visit me there. Thanks for spending time with me.